Continuing from the previous episode 1825. The Sky Bridge is the only passage linking the King City. It stands at the top of the mountain. It is completely paved with the golden stones that are abundant in the Tianxin continent, like a solitary bridge suspended across the abyss. Jinshi, a special prismatic crystal, can greatly isolate the penetration of some forces. In addition, it is expensive to manufacture, so it is vigorously produced by Tianxin continent. This aura is not quite right. Along the way, Xiaoyan and the other 9 were carried by Lin Mo with a lion eagle and headed towards the top of the mountain range. Although they looked down on half of the mountain range along the way, there was a palpitating fluctuation. It appeared in Xiaoyan's heart. Under the gaze of Xiaoyan's enormous soul power, the soil in this half of the mountain range seems to be filled with a strange blood color, and this blood color is difficult for ordinary people to detect. Even with the soul power of Xiaoyan's level, they can only detect it. To a little. Here, everyone, please. After a while, Lin Mo took the 9 people to the top of the mountain. At the top of the mountain range, there is a beautiful pavilion about tens of meters. Not far from the pavilion is the overpass. It's hard work for the head of the forest. The 3 princes and princesses pressed down together and whispered to him. Lin Mo has a special status, and in this special period, it would be great if he could win a little favor. I will start the overpass for you, and the rest of the way, you can go by yourself. Lin Mo said softly, and suddenly his hands flashed with a majestic green light, and the endless breath of life burst out suddenly. Shaking uncontrollably, moon-white ice flowers appeared on the overpass. It's all right. After Lin Mo finished all this, he also stood quietly and didn't speak. The emperor's order was to search the 3 of them carefully, but Lin Mo knew that the 3 of them were not what they used to be now, and doing this kind of thing himself was superfluous. Let's go. Seeing this, Lin Yunshu nodded slightly to Lin Mo, and immediately took the black robes, Xiaoyan and Jizan, and stepped into it first. Sir? The 2 around Lin Feng saw this, but their expressions tightened. No hurry. Lin Feng's brows flickered, and after he glanced at Lin Fengya and didn't move, he said. Wang buzzing. Just as he stepped on the edge of the overpass, a huge pressure, like tens of thousands of caddies, suddenly hit. In addition to the shock of the abyss below, Xiaoyan also felt the huge pressure. Cc. For a while, when Xiaoyan resisted the pressure and continued to step forward, Yu Guang looked at the abyss below the overpass, and a hidden brand pattern on the palm of his hand burned violently. What happened? Is this the mark of the dark Hades? Is this a passage to the underworld? But it made me feel a tinge of disgust from the bottom of my heart. It doesn't seem to be the underworld, but an evil race from outside the realm. Xiaoyan thought carefully, but he couldn't think of what was going on for a while. Be careful. Just when Xiaoyan was thinking, Jizan suddenly shouted, raised his palm and pulled it towards Xiaoyan. Whoa! At the same time, a moon-white ice flower in front of Xiaoyan, after Xiaoyan approached, bloomed like a splendid firework. The power seemed weak, but the fierce aura contained in it was amazing. Suffocating. And don't forget to be suspended above the abyss at this time. If one accidentally falls, I am afraid. Hoo, thank you very much. Xiaoyan also cupped his hands towards Jizan after the shock. What's wrong with your lord? Jizan also looked at Xiaoyan suspiciously, and followed his gaze to the endless abyss below. It's okay, let's go. After that, the 3 of them continued to walk. Hey! Ever since she stepped on the overpass, Princess Lin Yunshu's body flashed with the power of stars at any time, protecting the 3 of them firmly. The power of the stars is as bright as a galaxy, and as unfathomable as a black hole in the abyss. Is this the power of the stars? Looking at Princess Lin Yunshu, who was covered with stars, the guards who were always beside Lin Feng spoke softly and muttered. The powerhouses of the Holy Sea Light System already have a unique understanding of the many forces in the Great Thousand World, but such as the demon system that has never been born, the power of the short-lived stars, etc., are still full of fear and unknown. Crack! When Xiaoyan and the 3 walked halfway to the overpass, they suddenly shook violently. The 3 figures trembled rapidly, and they would be dragged into the abyss by the overpass at any time. The road to the stars. At this moment, Lin Yunshu showed her powerful dominance. The power of the stars in her body swept out like a sea of stars, and instantly paved a road of stars in front of the 3 of them. On the road of stars, the stars are dotted and incomparably deep. Let's go to Wangcheng first, said casually, and the three of them took the lead to cross the overpass and head towards Wangcheng. Xiaoyan and Jizan looked at each other, and left here immediately, but the powerhouses of the Holy See beside Linfeng made Xiaoyan a little bit afraid, and the powerhouses of the Soul Palace beside Linfengya. This trip is probably too dangerous. With the departure of the 9 people, Lin Mo's expression was also full of determination, as if he was going to do other things, but looking at his appearance, I am afraid it is not trivial. On the other side, in the palace, which is quite far away from the royal city, is the residence of the emperor. In the bedroom, there are countless splendid palaces, but they are all full of one characteristic: silence. The core of the bedroom, Tianyuan Palace. Tianyuan Palace is the largest scale, magnificent, and extremely rigorous building among the palaces. It seems to ordinary people that it is enough to cause a strong oppression of the soul. It is the palace of the king and the residence of the strong. On the periphery of Tianyuan Palace, there are lifelike spirits, unicorns, dragons and beasts. All kinds of strange birds and beasts are engraved on it. Inside the palace. Cough, cough. How's the situation? At this time, on a jade bed that was curved like a dragon in the palace, a middle-aged man with a pale face and empty eyes coughed violently, facing the person in front of him. Void said softly. Even such a slight voice contained an incomparably resisting oppression, just like a real emperor's attitude, but it was mixed with a sense of weakness. Emperor. The voice just fell. The Void trembled, and a black figure also appeared here. Yuan Shou, Feng Mo in the late stage of the 7-star fighting immortals. Wang, the 3 electors have come to the royal city one after another, and many high-ranking royal families have gathered in the royal city. The final step will be taken in 3 days. Feng Mo said with a gloomy look. Come here, take my battle armor and undress. At that time, a mighty and domineering roar filled the air. With the fall of this voice, the bustling voices from outside the palace squirmed, and several maid-servants with excellent appearance quickly emerged, carefully looking at the terminally ill emperor in front of him. King, the 2 princes are aggressive, with your breath. You can't go. Feng Mo couldn't help muttering when he heard the words. Feng Mo, you have been with me for so many years, you should know that it is related to the pattern of Tianxing continent, and this kind of thing must go. And if I don't go, I'm afraid this meeting of the king's city will be completely turned upside down. The emperor reluctantly stood up and said weakly. But Feng Mo was still a little worried. I've made up my mind, let's fulfill this last wish while I still have the last time. After that, the tense busyness started here. At this time, countless high-level executives gathered towards the king's city, and the real highlight, in 3 days, will be fully opened. Continuing from the previous episode 1826. Wangcheng, this is a place where countless elites are stationed. Every time there is an important decision made by the Lin family in the Tianxing continent, it will be held here again. At this time, in the blue sky that was originally sunny for thousands of miles, the sound of low thunder continued to sound, and dark clouds that were extremely dark quietly emerged. In the dark clouds, a touch of extreme depression made the entire Tianyuan mountains become. I got nervous. I don't know if it was God's will or man-made. In short, this level of dark clouds has attracted the attention of many powerhouses. What's going on here? This is it? Following the abnormality in the sky, the countless vassal civilians in the Tianyuan mountains looked at it dully and lost their voices. The king's city is located in the right center of the Tianyuan mountains. It is surrounded by several mountains and forests, protecting it as if it forms a natural barrier. The king's city covers an area of tens of kilometers and consists of dozens of magnificent palaces inside and outside. The center of the king's city is the royal family. The meeting room is where, 3 days later, the 3 electors will jointly decide the real new king. Inside the king's city, with the residence of the 3 electors, the place became martial law. The 3 elections were fully protected by their respective princes, and the only real highlight was waiting 3 days later. For 3 days, people on the left and right sides of the Tianyuan mountains were panicking, and even the dark clouds above the sky stared more and more, as if they were not born naturally, but were controlled by people. It's a pity that Lin Mo tried to disperse the dark clouds several times, but it didn't help, so he could only be vigilant at all times, but the dark clouds became more and more terrifying, as if there were some suffocating creatures in the depths. For 3 days, Xiaoyan and Jizan stayed by the princess's side, and even the princess was very careful about eating and traveling, but fortunately there was no problem. The 3 days were spent in such a state of extreme tension. On the third day, the skyline had just emerged in the early morning, and the real highlight was slowly coming. Boom! Above the sky, the dark thunderclouds continued to spread, and the deafening voices seemed to herald today's *** disaster. On the day of the royal election, many of the most highly respected elders in the royal family will vote. The result of the vote is in the meaning of the God King, and the real new king will be born again. At that time, everything will be settled. And this kind of royal family elders is the most authoritative, because they have already detached from the world. They made contact and contributions to the royal family when they were young, and they naturally entered the protection of the royal family in their later years. Although it is unlikely that the realm of the 3 electors will be bought by the 3 electors, of course, this possibility cannot be ruled out, and the above is very small. Princess, let's go. The 3 of Xiao Yan slowly walked out of the deep palace compound. Immediately, Xiao Yan raised his head slightly, glanced at the dark clouds above the sky with the help of the black robe, and muttered. It seems that from the dark clouds above the sky, he can smell a rather familiar aura, which is the unique aura of the Soul Palace, but at this time Xiao Yan can't think about the Devil Fruit, Soul Palace and angels. The most urgent task now is to escort the princess successfully through election day. If the election is successful, the other 2 princes will naturally fail completely, but it is not possible that they will turn against each other and change directly, but even if they are elected, they will not allow the princess to survive, because the power of the stars is the greatest variable. So this election, whether it was successful or not, to be honest, it was on the brink of death, but since Xiao Yan took over, he would not back down. Well, they're here. Lin Yunshu smiled sweetly, and immediately filled with an unfathomable special power, and slowly walked towards the royal meeting room with Xiao Yan. That is the power of the stars. It seems that the princess at this time, the fluctuations in her body are more powerful than in the past. Fuck. The 3 princesses just walked around, and dozens of elites surrounded them. They were obviously the personal guards who were responsible for protecting the princess. Their strength was almost at the peak of the 6-star fighting immortal. At the same time, the other 2 princes also left the royal meeting room in exactly the same way. The royal meeting room is located in the center of the royal city. This place is the important place of the royal family, because not only all important meetings will start here, but more importantly, there is a royal stele here. The stele records countless generations of Lin's royal family. The deceased is a unique treasure in the royal family. The stele is stored in the conference room, firstly, so that all meetings and decisions can be heard by the deceased gods, impartial and strict, and secondly, it is also to pay homage to the deceased heroes. Inside the conference room at this time, the interior of the conference room was splendid, and a splendid atmosphere emerged. The layers of stairs were recessed from the front door, about 10 steps, and the site below was a huge square decorated with special color rocks of Zhu Pei Zi, the altar. In the center of the altar, countless heroes are recorded on the stone tablet standing in the center, and a trace of yin wind emerges, as if every decision here has their divine might. In the center of the stone tablet, a middle-aged man stood slightly. Around the altar, there are a total of 13 seats, 3 of which are marked with obvious signs for the 3 electors. As for the remaining 10 seats, the tigers and eagles are depicted on them. Animal. It symbolizes the 10 elders in the royal family of the Heavenly Star Empire. Tiger _ link to www.novelmtl.com _ wolf, eagle, lion, rabbit, snake, python, mink, bear, eagle. These 10 people are all shocking, and they are among the 7-star fighting immortals. Moreover, these 10 positions also represent some special forces of the royal family. Each controls a secret army. It can be said that they are the real heritage of the royal family. It is enough to show that these 10 people, whether in terms of prestige or strength, are of great importance in the royal family. At this time, on the altar, the 10 elders have already taken their seats, and there are only 3 electors. This election will be completely opened. Silence, deathly silence. Whoosh! Wang Cheng really hasn't had such a huge scene for a long time, and actually let 10 elders come forward together. The man standing in front of the stone tablet in charge of presiding over this meeting opened his pupils slightly, glanced around, and said indifferently, "The head of Yuanwei is really joking. I'm waiting for this old bone." If he doesn't come out to take charge of the overall situation, I'm afraid our royal family is about to change. At this moment, the old man above the tiger seat burst out with a gleam of light. His lips parted slightly, and a fierce icy cold swept out. Squeak! With a sound, the main door of the conference room was slowly pushed open, and for a while, the 3 electors, accompanied by several personal guards, came down. Oh, is this the little girl with the power of stars? Although this Lin Feng is a violent and main fighting faction, he is still a good successor. It's still Lin Fengya. Follow the will of God. With the arrival of the 3 electors, the anger in the entire conference room altar became extremely hot. The error-free chapters of Fighting the Sky God of Yan Emperor will continue to be updated on linkttonovel.com, and there will be no advertisements on the site. Please collect and share. If you like Yandy of the God of Fighting the Sky, please collect it. The Emperor of the God of Fighting the Sky is the fastest to update. Continuing from the previous episode 1827. Wangcheng, in the royal meeting room, above the altar. The 3 electors entered their seats safely, and Xiao Yan and the others also accompanied them and stood silently by the side, like giants that were immobile. 10 elders, 10 7-star fighting immortals. Xiao Yan and Ji Zan in black robes stood beside the princess. Oppression hits. With this slight fluctuation, Xiao Yan can infer from this that these 10 people are all battle-hardened warriors who have been on the edge of life and death for many years, making their murderous aura unmistakable. Since everyone is here, then this election day will officially begin. Seeing the presence of the powerful people, the head of Yuanwei looked around and said softly, "Leader Yuan, wait." The next moment, Lin Fengya suddenly spoke up. The voice was extremely amiable, and people inadvertently attracted a good impression. "What's the matter with Prince Lin Fengya?" Yuan Shou was not in a hurry, but asked softly, "Today is the day of the royal election. Why didn't the father and the king come in person for such a grand event?" Lin Fengya said word by word, but the strange thing was that when he said these words, he risked a big difference. The trace, but it came out of Lin Fengya's mouth, was like an innocent child who was extremely concerned about his father's body. Disgusting. Such a hypocritical guy. Seeing Lin Fengya's actions like this, Ji Zan glanced coldly, his eyes and voice filled with disdain. Originally, what happened to Lin Fengya had not been completely revealed. Ji Zan and others didn't know much about him. Unfortunately, after Xiao Yan broke into the tiger's den alone, he saw through this guy's wolf ambitions. At this moment, Ji Zan naturally wanted to kill this guy. Wan cut. Hey! Even if it was a very small voice, it fell into the ears of many strong people, and suddenly a trace of regret could not help but emerge in Yuan Shou's eyes. Oh, these guys seem to have a plan. Xiao Yan's soul power was extremely tyrannical, and Yuan Shou's slight change was also noticed. Who are you? The electoral meeting is also something that ordinary people like you can intervene in? At this moment, Lin Feng sneered arrogantly. Come here, bring him down. Just when the 2 princes were about to get angry, Yuan Shou's voice fell, and a swift figure of Yuan Wei led Ji Zan down with thunder. Princess. At this moment, Ji Zan seemed to sense something, staring at Lin Yunshu with red pupils, lost his voice. Go down. Lin Yunshu smiled quietly. Ji Zan also disappeared here, and the altar was returning to peace. Tisk tisk. This stinky girl has a good way. Looking at the actions of Lin Yunshu and Yuan Shou, the 2 princes looked at each other, as if they had reached some consensus. Next, let's officially start the election. With the end of this episode, Yuan Shu's deep pupils flickered, and then a wave of heat appeared all over his body, which was easily poured on the stone tablet. Wang Om! So shocked by Yuan Shou, above the stone tablet, a powerful pressure instantly filled the air, like a ripple of energy, sweeping the entire altar. The election is on. Come up again, all the kings, in the name of Wu Yuanshu, to sacrifice the sacrament of election. After a while, the bright stars were like an endless tide, baptizing their bodies. 10 elders, each of you has 1 vote. Please cast your most precious vote for your convincing successor. The wooden plaque in front of you is extremely 1 vote. King, look down and speak. Hey! As Yuan Shou spoke, the entire quiet altar also had some sparse loosening. The old men above the 10 seats walked gently without any bribes or words. They already had a clear goal in their hearts. Of course, Lin Feng and Lin Fengya knew more or less about the collusion behind the Holy See and the Soul Palace, but they only knew about the skins. Any ballot. When Xiao Yan under the black robe heard this, his expression finally moved. The next step is the crucial part. No matter whether the election is successful or not, fierce battles will break out, and that is the most critical step. Xiao Yan shook his head lightly and looked at Yuan Shou standing beside the stone tablet. It seemed that this guy had a chance to win and was not worried at all. The real new king will be established next. It seems that your chances of success are quite rare. Watching the 10 elders walk one after another, they have been wandering, as if waiting or for other reasons, they have not put their hands in their hands for a long time. After the vote was cast, the mysterious holy sea man beside Lin Feng said slightly, "Lin Yunshu, Lin Fengya, even if the two of you are selected, this time I will definitely subvert this place." After Lin Feng sneered, he folded his hands in front of his chest, and the sharp ice on the corners of his mouth was even stronger. He knew that Lin Fengya would be more powerful than himself. Even more anxious, because his matter was exposed, so naturally he was not anxious. In the altar, 10 people walked one after another, and after a few minutes, the wooden signs in the hands of the 10 people disappeared together, and they were quietly placed in front of Yuan Shou. 433. It's actually 4-3-3. 10 votes, 3 elections, whoever has more than 4 votes will become the new king. Princess Lin Yunshu, congratulations. At the next moment, looking at the result, Yuan Shou gently put away the wooden token in his hand, checked the aura on the wooden token again and again, and then smiled at Lin Yunshu's position. Cast a very respectful look. Thank you. Lin Yunshu heard the words, and his delicate body was shocked. After a while, he bent down and bowed back. The new king has appeared. It is Her Royal Highness Queen Lin Yunshu. Tomorrow, the Emperor will personally confer the throne for Her Majesty the Queen after the rest. Yuan Shou raised the 10 wooden plaques in his hand, and his high-pitched voice resounded throughout the altar. Hoo-hoo! Is it going so well? Hearing Yuan Shou's words, Xiao Yan in black robe smelled an extreme chill from the 4 guards beside Lin Feng and Lin Fengya. Killing intent, no doubt. Hee. Congratulations to Sister Wang first. At this moment, Lin Fengya gently stood up from the wheelchair and sneered. You. Seeing Lin Fengya's appearance like this, the 3 elders who had just voted for Lin Fengya's eyes narrowed and lost their voices. How could a lame man walk upright? At this time, they also felt something was wrong. Since Wang Mei has become the new king, then I borrowed something from the queen. I don't know what the queen wants. At this moment, Lin Fengya's face showed a maddening smile, as if a man was swearing and depriving himself. Crazy man who likes things. What? Lin Yunshu's noble gesture emerged, and she immediately said in a contemptuous tone like the goddess of the Mayfly 9 days. Your power of the stars, and the star continent under your command. At this time, an extremely arrogant voice resounded on the entire altar like a demon. For a time, the audience stopped abruptly, and there was no sound. Continuing from the previous episode 1828. Lin Fengya, do you know what you're doing? You are blaspheming God's will. You are questioning the king's power. You are seeking your own death. On the altar, one of the 10 elders, the old man on the tiger seat, heard the words, had a violent temper, and got up directly, an extremely terrifying expression. The oppression suddenly spread over the entire altar. Ha, Hu Lao, you are old and strong. But if you hand over the huge Tianxing continent to a weak woman, wouldn't you destroy the foundation of our country for hundreds of generations? I'm not at ease, and since I'm a prince, I also want to do my part for the empire. Lin Fengya's face was ashen, her eyes staring at Lin Yunshu like a wolf. Mind, where did Yuan Shou go? At this moment, Xiao Yan found that Yuan Shou, who had been standing beside the stone monument, had disappeared without a trace. There were only 10 elders left, but Xiao Yan also had expectations. This Lin Fengya, he actually dared to challenge 10 7-star fighting immortal elders. If this guy is not a first-class idiot, I am afraid he came prepared. Don't disperse for a while, go out and join the main force first. Seeing the tense situation, Xiao Yan in black robe used his soul power to say to the princess. I'm afraid things are not so simple. The princess heard the words, and the huge aura was released. What nonsense! Lin Fengya has betrayed. According to the rules of our clan, he must be hanged. In the name of my royal tiger general and elder, we will arrest Lin Fengya and do it. If there is any selfish person, deal with it according to the clan rules. Hu Lao snorted coldly, his eyes locked on Lin Fengya. As for the other 9 old people around him, after hesitating for a while, there were signs of action. Steward Tien, you are responsible for the overall situation. Let me see if the strength of the 10 elders is as terrifying as the rumors say. Boom! Lin Fengya's voice just fell, and an extremely astonishing aura roared and filled the entire altar in an instant. Among those auras, there was not only a strong living wood attribute aura, but even a hint of it. Obscure gloomy atmosphere. 7 stars fighting immortals? You actually colluded with Soul Palace? Hu Lao said in surprise when he saw Lin Fengya's scene. Little girl, let's send you to *** first. Without any hesitation, Lin Fengya moved, raised his palm, a halo of green light and black light perfectly blended with suffocating power, his body slightly raised, he roared directly at Lin Yunshu. Humph! Seeing this, Xiao Yan took a step forward and raised his palm as well. Green light and flames emerged from under the black robe, directly facing Lin Fengya. Boom! The tyrannical oppressive breath of the two turned into a ripple of energy that spread out completely. So strong. Such a simple collision caused Xiao Yan to take dozens of steps back before he could stabilize his figure. Soul Stone, do it! With a cold snort, Lin Fengya was a little surprised, but still said to the figure behind him. As for Lin Feng and his guards, as well as Yuan Shou, taking advantage of the war, they slowly disappeared here. Go ahead, arrest him. At this time, the figures of the 10 elders exploded, surrounding Lin Fengya. 10 7-star fighting immortals shot, even Lin Fengya could not escape. Gululu. The strength of the Soul Stone was only that of the 6-star fighting immortal, but as Lin Fengya's voice fell, the black robe all over his body suddenly burned, and after a while, it turned into a black mist. Crack! Just when everyone hesitated, the black mist formed by the Soul Stone quietly broke the roof on the top of the altar and poured into the roaring dark cloud in the sky. Clang! Injected by the black mist of the Soul Stone, the dark cloud was like a boiling demonic cauldron, and a palpitating evil aura permeated uncontrollably. It's raining? After the blink of an eye, droplets of black raindrops gently dripped down from the dark clouds, accompanied by screams and coldness. It's not rain. It's the Emperor's soul that is about to come, and the 4 dragons lock the coffin. Lin Fengya is really a lunatic. At this moment, Xiao Yan also noticed something. Tightening, with the help of the power of the soul, the perception penetrated the dark clouds and saw the terrible things hidden in the depths. Crash! In the dark clouds, black raindrops kept dripping. I don't know what harm it is, but there is indeed something extremely terrifying, which is slowly being born and coming. Zoo! On the other side, Lin Fengya managed to get entangled with 10 elders in a short period of time, but with the passage of time, failure is only a matter of time. Susu, I won't play with you anymore. Enjoy the grand event before the end. Lin Fengya finished speaking, a madness flashed across the depths of his eyes. Gululu. With a sound, Lin Fengya's figure was like a pool of black energy, and suddenly dissipated here. It was obviously a unique method of the Soul Palace, and many elders could only do nothing. This beast! Upon seeing this, the 10 elders couldn't help but exasperatedly said. Ladies and gentlemen, look! After a while, Lin Yunshu's beautiful eyes flickered slightly, looking at a magnificent building that slowly fell out of the thundercloud above the sky. Lin Fengya? 4 dragons locking the coffin? Hearing the princess's voice, the 10 elders looked up, but saw a shocking and terrifying scene. This lunatic. At this moment Xiao Yan also raised his head, but a trace of remorse emerged. If he hadn't rashly sneaked into Lin Fengya's underground palace, I am afraid that this election, Lin Fengya would not it will be so slanted. At this time, in the entire Tianyuan mountains, many black raindrops slowly dripped. At the same time, at the top of the sky, countless vast and majestic energies of heaven and earth gathered towards it. It roared out, and behind the energies of the heavens and the earth, a terrifyingly huge creature slowly appeared. In the thundercloud, the cold and tyrannical aura coexisted, and the 4 huge creatures were as motionless as ever, and at the center of the 4 huge creatures, a black object appeared gently. The 4 dragons lock coffin, the most tyrannical seal fighting skill in the Star Continent. Once locked by the 4 dragons, even the 8-star fighting immortals cannot break free, and can only be reduced to the guardian of the dragon corpse. 4 dragon corpses, each 100 meters long, on the steel-like body, like the divine pattern poured out by human beings with bright red blood, bursting with the brilliance of the exclusive dragon family. Above the dragon claws, there is no light, but the dragon's horns are sparkling, and the endless power of the bearer contains the power that is difficult for mortals to touch, which is depressing. The 4 dragons locked the coffin, and it was located above the center of the 4 dragon corpses, and a familiar breath poured into everyone's heart. The soul of the Emperor. An exclamation suddenly emerged from the mouths of the 10 elders. Continuing from the previous episode 1829. Boom! The shocking 4 icy dragon corpses stood in the sky in shock, carrying black coffins that were completely suppressed and sealed, quietly falling from the eerie thunderclouds, and suspended in the sky above the Tianyuan mountains. Just like the real evil coffin that crawled from the abyss, it was quiet with the 4 dragon corpses, and could not be shaken. This beast! In the altar, watching Lin Fengya act like this, the 10 elders immediately looked extremely ugly. Their palms could not help but squeeze tightly, and the violent aura spread out. Let's do it, no matter what today. I want to bring this rebellious beast to justice for the Emperor. As they spoke, a tyrannical wave was permeating the 10 people's bodies. Hold on, elders, Princess Lin Yunshu interrupted after seeing the 10 people act like this. His Royal Highness, you should protect yourself at this time. For the rest of the time, when we subdue the disruptors of the royal family, we will naturally have the Emperor crown you personally. Tiger Lao obviously preferred the princess and smiled. Lin Fengya imprisoned his father's soul and tortured his father. This matter is definitely not easy, and with the secret collusion with the Soul Palace, I think this matter will trouble him. Lin Yunshu frowned slightly, looking at Xiao Yan. This is... Following the princess's gaze, everyone looked at the only black-robed man beside the princess with great puzzlement. Xiao Yan, the owner of the Endless Fire Territory, is an old rival to the Soul Palace. Xiao Yan took off his black robe, revealing his true colors. Endless Fire Territory? A new force in the Xuanling continent? Xiao Yan reported himself to his family, but these old guys hesitated. They naturally knew about the Endless Fire Territory, but there was still a big gap for them, so they didn't let it go. On the heart, ladies and gentlemen, Lin Fengya's purpose is also very clear. What he wants is not only the power of the stars on the princess, but also the entire Tianxing continent. And in addition to the collusion with the Soul Palace, the power has skyrocketed. Now that he dares to act so blatantly, it shows that this guy has absolute reliance. And I think that in the entire King City and Skystar City, there should be quite a few strong people who have already been controlled by them. Xiao Yan spoke softly, his voice flat. How is that possible? Just as Xiao Yan's voice fell, Hu Lao's face changed greatly, a rare cold light appeared in his eyes, and an invisible energy ripple suddenly spread, and in the blink of an eye, most of the entire Tianyuan mountains were shrouded. Hu Lao? Looking at Hu Lao's actions, the other 9 asked together. Quote. Hu Lao didn't respond, but kept increasing his senses, but it seemed that in the mountains, some land and trees were filled with a strange aura that had never been seen before. Let us leave the matter of the Soul Hall to us. I am afraid that the remaining 4 dragons will be in trouble for the elders. Xiao Yan said with a smile. The crisis in the Tianxing continent, please, Your Excellency. After the matter is completed, the Tianxing continent will always be your ally. Let's go. Just after finishing speaking, the 10 elders headed by Hu Lao, with their wood attribute auras flickering and rising, suddenly floated with the wind, facing the 4 dragon-locked coffins above the sky. Hey! Just when the 10 people moved, just above the altar that was already vacant, a gloomy flickering brown flame enveloped the entire altar. Let's go! At this time, Xiao Yan's body rose with flames, and suddenly met those extremely difficult brown flames. Gululu! With the help of Xiao Yan, the 10 elders went to the 4 dragon-locked coffins smoothly, but at this time, on the dark and cold 4 dragon-locked coffins, each dragon corpse had a corpse on its back. A powerful 7-star fighting immortal, and Lin Fengya stood on the black coffin with awe-inspiring eyes. Father, it won't be long before you will completely become a member of my subordinates, and then you will be able to live forever, free from birth, old age, sickness and death, and you will still be able to see the Tianxin continent reach its true peak under my leadership. Exclamation mark quote. Ha ha ha. A crazy voice sounded against the black coffin, and at this time above the black coffin, the illusory soul of the emperor had been entangled by countless white ribbons, and countless ghostly ghosts were squirming around him, and something was happening. Mutation. This should be regarded as some kind of evil technique. It uses the human soul as a guide to refine the soul slave. Once the soul slave succeeds, it will seize the body and take over the body. It's getting worse. Come out. Stopping the brown flames, Xiao Yan stared coldly at a place in the void of the altar, where there were traces of black air seeping out, and the black air was filled with an extremely evil smell. Even Xiao Yan discovered that above this brown flame, a terrifying evil force that was different from normal flames permeated out. That smell seems to be like holy flame. Xiao Yan in the endless fire territory, worthy of being the guy named by the hall master to take care of. After a while, the black gas transformed into a figure, and the figure's face was mixed with a vicious evil intent, a fierce and fiery expression. His eyes were locked on Xiao Yan. The powerhouse of the Soul Palace? Lin Yunshu was also surprised when he saw this, smelling an extremely dangerous aura from this guy. Introduction: the subordinates of Hall Master Wang Tang of Soul Hall. Soul Zhanghai. At the same time, a black vortex emerged from behind Soul Zhanghai like a hellish devil's mouth, and was continuously releasing countless dark evil energy, polluting the entire altar extremely turbid. 7 stars fighting immortals. Xiao Yan looked at the slightly wriggling black vortex, his pupils shrank abruptly, his complexion became completely cold, and a faint light flashed from the Henggu ruler behind him. Contains monstrous murderous intent. This time, thanks to the idiot Lin Fengya, let the army of my soul hall descend, and the elites of my soul hall will come out and blood wash the Tianxin continent. Su Su. Soul Zhanghai roared, and in the black vortex, countless ghosts and ghosts emerged rapidly, and immediately spread out around the black vortex. In just a short moment, those scenes were as huge and shocking as 10,000 ghosts were dispatched, and the aura formed in them shook the mountains, making it suffocating. I'll hold it here, princess, go to the emperor's bedroom first. Xiao Yan muttered as he watched the terrifying aura of the Soul River Sea in front of him, and the countless Soul Palace powerhouses emerging from the black vortex toward the Tianyuan mountains. But Lin Yunshu had already cast a burst of stars on his body, ready to join forces with Xiao Yan to obliterate Soul Zhanghai. Come on, there's no time left. When I'm done with this, I'll pick you up. Their purpose is your entire royal family. After eradicating the emperor and then removing the royal family, the Sky Star continent will also become their possession. I'm afraid even Lin Fengya didn't expect this. Xiao Yan with a cold snort, the bright wind directly sent Princess Lin Yunshu away from here. At this time, waiting for Xiao Yan, there are tens of thousands of giant Soul Palace powerhouses,